Hi, it's Mimi at Giggly Guppy. Today I'm going to be reading three more stories from Unlikely Friendships by Jennifer S. Holland. The first story took place in India in 2003, and it's called The Leopard and the Cow. From the banks of India's Dadar River and a village called Antoli comes the story of the domestic cow and the wild leopard that sought its affection. The leopard crept through the sugar cane on an October night, seeming to search for something. She found a cow tied in a field, the way villagers keep their livestock in this dusty farming community. The cat didn't harm the cow, but villagers worried about its predatory instincts, since they too were sometimes in the fields at night. They asked the forest department to remove the leopard to a wildlife sanctuary nearby. And so the trappers came and soon found themselves observers of an unexpected interaction. Wildlife conservationists Rohit Vyas and Gujarat State was involved in several attempts to capture the leopard. The cat returned to the area nightly, often many times a night, but not as a predator sniffing out a warm meal. Instead, she came to be embraced. She approached the cow tentatively, rubbed her head against the cow's head, then settled against her body. The cow would lick the cat, starting with her head and neck, cleaning whatever she could reach as the cat wriggled in apparent delight. If the cow was asleep when the leopard arrived, the visitor would gently awaken her with a nuzzle to the leg before lying down and pressing close. Other cattle stood by, but the leopard ignored them. The chosen cow seemed pleased to give the leopard her nightly bath. For almost 2 months the cat showed up around 8 in the evening and cuddled with the cow until the first hint of sunrise, as if hiding their strange tryst from the glare of day. When word of the animal's bond got out, villagers became less afraid of the leopard and no longer worried about its capture. They were also surprised to see improved crop yields. Apparently, the big cat was preying on pigs, monkeys, and jackals that usually devoured as much as a third of the farmer's harvest. The cat stayed away for several weeks. Then, on the last night the animals were seen together, the leopard visited 9 times before wandering away from her friend for good. Rohit Vyas suggests that the leopard had been young and motherless when it first strayed into the village, using agricultural fields as a pathway from a distant forest. Perhaps a curious link between cat and cow stirred the domestic animal's maternal instinct. The leopard sought the cow's warmth for a time, but when she reached adulthood, her need for motherly affection diminished, and she moved on. Even with such a plausible explanation, this relationship was unimaginable, says Rohit. We were all spellbound by it. Who would expect a carnivore and hunter like a leopard to show love and affection toward its prey? Beautiful. And for its prey to show affection towards the hunter. I love that story. The next story comes from South Africa in 2010. It's called The Lion Cub and the Caracal Siblings. I even looked it up online how to say that. Caracal. I'm not sure if I'm still saying it right. Please excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it. Adorable picture. Misfortune for a handful of wildcats led to a happy mingling of species in a South African reserve. It happened at the Pumba Private Game Reserve in Port Elizabeth, a place where lions stalk and cheetahs race, where zebras and giraffes form stoic silhouettes on the dusty plains, and where rhinos and elephants turn watering holes into muddy plunge pools. First, a lion cub named Sheba was brought to Pumba for rehabilitation. Sheba's mother, while still heavily pregnant, had been mistakenly caught by a game relocation team. Two of her cubs died shortly after birth, and she abandoned the third, most likely as a result of the stress of the capture. Staff at the Pumba Reserve took in an abandoned lion cub and did their best to fill the maternal void. They planned to raise her for 18 months, then introduced her to a pride of lions on the nearby 7,000-hectare stretch of woodland and open plains. Not too long after that, a pair of young Caracal were brought to the reserve. Caracal are a smallish, quick-footed, lynx-like species that roam the open country of Africa and the Middle East. The Caracal siblings had lost their mother to hunting dogs at a nearby farm after she had attacked the resident farmer's sheep. Normally, Caracal kittens stick with their mothers for as much as a year, so without a stand-in parent, the baby's future was grim. As they had with the lion cub, the staff at the Pumba Reserve did their best to mother the Karakols. They named the brother-sister duo Jack and Jill, and they had a playmate for the kittens in mind, Sheba, the little lonely lion cub. Sheba, Jack, and Jill formed an instant bond. They all lived together in our farmhouse with our dog Frankie, says Reserve Director Dale Howarth, whose home sits on the boundary of the wildland. They play together like any domestic cats, but obviously they are a lot bigger and more boisterous and do a lot of damage to our carpets and furniture. Climbing up curtains is no challenge at all. I can hardly imagine. The three cats sleep together in a furry heap in the bedroom Dale shares with his wife, allowing for the regular feedings the youngsters require. At about 12 months, he says, the Karakols will be given free range of the reserve, while the lioness will begin to separate from the family at about 18 months when she's ready to find a mate. At that point, all the cats will be free to come and go as they feel comfortable. There's no pressure on the animals to stay or leave, Dale says. Until then, each day is a sweet medley of eating, sleeping on the veranda, tumbling, grappling, clawing, and startling their caretakers as they race with mad abandon through house and garden. Kittens will be kittens after all, until they grow into Karakols and lions. So cute. That was the only picture for this story. And the final story for today has quite a few pictures, actually. It took place in Georgia in the United States in 2001. It's called The Lion, the Tiger, and the Bear. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Lions and tigers and bears. No bear in that picture. All right, here we go. Oh my, it's the big three that spooked Dorothy and her Oz companions together again. But at Noah's Ark Animal Rehabilitation Center in Locust Grove, Georgia, lion, tiger, and bear aren't frightening, they're brothers. They arrived together at the rehab center back in 2001, three cubs that had been confiscated by the Department of Natural Resources during a drug bust. They were Leo the lion, Shere Khan the tiger, and Baloo the bear. And clearly the animals, not more than 3 months old apiece at the time, had become inseparable during their ordeal. So together they remained. Their habitat at the center was made roomy enough for three, and they got a sturdy new clubhouse. A wooden structure built as a place to bunk and sometimes to hide from the streams of awestruck visitors peering at the center's oddest mates. In the wild, these animals would have to cross oceans to meet face to face. Lions come from Africa, tigers from Asia, and American black bears are obviously American. Yet their different beginnings haven't kept them from being contented roommates. Looks like they're playing with a pumpkin. So cute, the three of them. Jamma Hedgecoth, one of the founders of Noah's Ark, says the animals play daily, sometimes roughly, yet tempers never flare. Everyone just gets along, rubbing against each other, butting heads, and sleeping and eating together. They truly live in harmony, she says. In the morning, they awaken full of pep, ready to wrestle each other and attack their toys, which are tires, logs, and other relatively indestructible objects. As afternoon creeps in, the three become a pile of lazy bones sprawled out in the yard or on the porch of their house as visitors wander by. Unlike most house cats, tigers like water. So do bears. That means Shere Khan and Baloo can share another activity, getting wet. They've had a series of tubs to splash in over the years, and when their habitat is next renovated, they'll have access to a nearby creek. Though it was originally a series of unfortunate circumstances that brought them together in Georgia, in the United States, the lion, tiger, and bear, born continents apart, have settled in as family, unaware of their disparate genetics and far-flung origins. This is their forever home now, says Gemma, and we hope they'll have a long and healthy life together. Beautiful. Very nice. So those are our 3 stories for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to you joining me again for more happy animal stories to make you smile.